This is, you know, wearing a little half shrug. I found one skein of superwash wool at the local thrift store, and it was unused, and it's 75 superwash wool, 25% nylon, and I used a free pattern from Hooked by Anna called the Aestas top. The top is worked in the round, top down, and so you chain and then you do this really pretty 2 double crochets together, and this kept me nice and busy while Hurricane Idalia skirted the Florida coast, and so we get to the point where I can try it on. Well, this is a look. So I am 6 foot tall, and this is the extra small because I only have 385 yards of this color. It's one skein, it's vintage. So 390 is what the pattern calls for. So we are working with an extra small, and we're gonna hope that this wool stretches out a little bit because it's a little snug here, but because it's crochet and I think it'll relax a little bit, I think I'll be all right. So. A little closer up though, you can see how the stitches are coming along. Because I only had one skein, I had to cut, tie off, and then in order to go in the round. I'm hoping that this will lay flat and relax when I have more, and then it'll give me a little more space here. But otherwise, I'm really pleased with my first, more complex and first ever tank top. So, yay! We've now come to the point where I'm gonna start doing the fancy underarm looping, and the most advanced that I've done so far. So we shall see how it goes, and we'll, after I'm done icing. In the first few rows of the bodice, you double crochet in the back loop only. I'm old school, and so I printed the pattern, and the next morning I got to it, and I just love this bowl. Can we talk about it? It's beautiful, it's handmade. I have now come to the first more complicated stitch I've never done. I'm still trying to understand the actual verbiage. What a glorious sunrise. So pretty, let me show you. There it is. It was a lovely morning, and about this time I heard something outside. We've saved my little buddy. Got it. This was quite a shock, as it was not expected on Labor Day morning. And when I returned home from my appointment to see this, I was actually quite devastated, and it was quite profound and impactful for me. I cried and really just had to adjust. Okay, we're at the first set of 2 bodice round 3 underarm sections where you're doing treble crochets together, which I've never done, so did that, and feeling good. Watching YouTube videos on how to do it. There we go. I've really enjoyed learning crochet again, and when I say that, I mean learning intermediate and hopefully advanced stitches coming up. I've crocheted for a long time, but I never followed a pattern, and I think I was not in the mind space to learn the lingo and abbreviations, and just didn't have the capacity for it. But I'm at a different point in life now, and I enjoy it. It's actually relaxing. I find it helps me to wind down from a busy day of reading and writing and thinking, and this allows me to think about something in a different way and form new neural pathways. I also don't know why I left the pencil in my mouth for so long. I do the same thing with needles, and it's not a really good habit at all to have, actually. But I was super excited that I had something that I could actually put on my body and try on, and it's really a creative process. I am on bodice round 5. What you do is round 3, but then your underarm section's weird. It's not weird, I've just never done it before, ever. So just trying to interpret. It is like learning a new language. So this is my second garment. I crocheted a cotton sweater first. So I've learned some new stitches. So this is good. I've learned triple crocheting 2 things together. And just interpreting it. It is a different way to use your brain, and I think that that's very important, especially for where I'm at right now in life, because your girl's reading a lot of law and writing my book. And the deadlines are, so that's all. Here's what it looks like. I'm over here trying to do round 5, which is as 3 until you get to the underarm section, and we're over here now. So now I'm at this step where and I think I have it. It looks pretty much the same. Ta-da. Ta-da. My brain had had enough, so the next morning I was up and at 'em. Of course, I think personally this is a good look. What do you think? What do you think? A little too much under cleavage, but. All right, so we have, I don't know how many, I think 7 rows of the bodice done. Yeah, 7 rows of the bodice done. I'm here so you can see I'm attached. And just trying it on for fit. I don't know if I'm gonna start shaping it to be tighter here, because I think I'd rather just sort of let it be wool and give and stretch, and it'll just kind of hang a little loosely and I can tuck it in instead of trying to decrease stitches. So otherwise I'm really happy with it. So the underarms are a little, let's just say it's a good thing it's a melange wool, but I'm learning. So I'm doing it well on some, and just practice, practice, practice. So I'm struggling with one section that is wonky. One side of this. And I've looked at it and I just don't know why. Let me just show you. Bodice round 5. It's this part right here. Until only 1 single crochet remains of the underarm section. Okay, so we have 1 left. Treble into the second to last single crochet. Skip the last single crochet. So is the last single crochet the one that remained? I get this rather large gape right here. So I have, this is the last of the row they're talking about. So that's the second to last, the one I had just worked from this stitch. So I treble crochet, and then I chain 3 over here to the first double crochet, and there's a gaping, it's so much larger. I janked up and I must have done it wrong earlier. But then I have another large one here. I don't get it. I'm following it, I think, but then I have this weird dippy-do. Why is it triple? I assume it's a triple to match with this. But then why is it chain 3? Is that to skip this last one over to the double? I suppose so. I will continue and just do it. The beautiful thing about crochet is, and with melange, I mean, this is the first time I've ever done many of these stitches, so it's fine. Stay the course. Sunday morning brought a bike ride, but I had to get a shot before I left. And here's the bodice in its state on Sunday morning. I went to an event that afternoon and got all gussied up to wear one of my favorite colors. And by the end of the day, I had to stop by and see my newest niece, who is scrumptious and I love her. Hello. So the goal was to use all of this skein because it was like everything except 5 yards. It had 5 more yards than what the pattern called for. I am 6 foot tall and I usually have to add 3 to 4 inches to my bodice length just to get it to hit right. So we're kind of at the tank top spot. Let's see what we have. Okay, not a ton of change since last time. The front is good. Good on the arm side. We're just about crop top length. Okay, hi. So here we are. So now, this is superwash wool and it has a little bit of give to it. I've got these really large spaces here. I think I miscalculated, but nevertheless, it's okay. Something about having calculation issues in this particular stitch, but whatever. So now I can either try to start shaping it and reduce it a little bit so it goes into the waist all the way down and back out, or I could just let this be as it is and just let it fall. And I think I'm just gonna probably let it fall so I don't do any more complicated things. But I'm really liking it. This is super cute here. You can see the pattern. Feeling pretty proud since I've never done that before. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yay! I was feeling pretty good about things, and so the next morning I decided I was going to finish this top. And I use crochet to help me breathe, and I find that I tend to breathe more regularly when I am in a crochet zone. So I just tried to have a relaxing morning and not think about too much and really just focus on not thinking and breathing. And it's helpful. And I think my mind needs that. So this day, I also decided for some reason to show several more close-ups of just the basic stitches. And the thing about this pattern, I think, that makes it intermediate, but also something that a beginner could do, because I really consider myself a beginner when it comes to apparel, is that it's basically half doubles, doubles, and then you double crochet two together, or you do two treble crochets together, or you are stitching in spaces. And here I am showing you just a simple double crochet until I get to the point where I start doing the treble crochets. So I'm starting row 19, and I realized I got a little excited over here on the last couple of rows. If you look, we are supposed to have like 4 treble crochets, and I got excited and added one in here. So the last couple, these lines here, which I think are rows 4 and 6, so this is, I just completed a 6 here. I had to count the number of stitches, which is 13 across, and sort of distribute them between these spaces so that I could contract it back to the size it's supposed to be. Yay, I got excited. So we're just learning here, doing double crochet, and then I'll take some film of me doing the trebles when we get to the other side. This is where I did the 2 treble crochets together, and this was a completely new stitch for me, and it took me a little bit of time to get used to it, but once I got into a pattern and a rhythm, it became more familiar, as one would expect. But I did have to practice and pull out my stitches and try again, or count aloud, actually. So I wanted to just show this repeatedly, because you would do a treble crochet, loop again twice, do another treble, and then you would pull all of it through, and you'd have this really cool sort of V-looking stitch by the time you're done. Add a couple of chain stitches and then move across. And it seems so easy when you look at it. It takes a little more time to learn it, and sometimes I still just don't understand how it all works out together, but that's okay. It's good if I just count and keep going. Okay, so we are on row 20, which should be worked as row 4. So we're going to chain single crochet 2, 3, 3, 3, and 2 in the chain spaces. So we're going to avoid the actual treble crochets here. So we're going to work single crochets, 2, 1, 2 in this first chain space. Skip the treble. I'm going to do 3 here, 1, 2, 3, 3 in the next chain space. Skip the treble, skip over here, 1, 2, 3, one more round of 3, skip, 1, 2, 3, skip here, and then skip this whole thing, and then 1, oops, that's kind of large, 1 and 2, and we'll just keep double crocheting. All right, so I've completed 20 rounds. Now, in the instructions, it talks about rounds 22 to 25 are at the hips. For me, that's not the case. That's more like at the top of my ribs, at the bottom of my ribs. This is all I have, so we're gonna run out of this. When this runs out is when the top is done, basically. And it's getting close. I'm thinking I will have to do 26 rounds. I'm at 20, I've completed 20. If I can get 26 done, that's a full another couple rounds plus a couple like finishing stitches. I might be able to get to 30 rounds, and then it actually will hit at my high to mid hip. So we'll keep you posted. Here's how it's going so far. You had to rewind him.
And we're part responsible for its massive.
I'm on a roll. So this is what we're working with. I ended up completing 22 rows, and then I just started doing double crochet, half double, and now I'm on a single crochet, and I think I have enough to get around the last loop and tie it off. So it's kind of like a really, it'll hit probably just at my waist after I block it. So we're almost there. We're done, and this is what we have left. So I ended up, this is again the Aestas top from Hooked by Anna. I'll put the links in the description. This is the size extra small, made with 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon, one skein of 300 and something yards, 390 yards made this one. Now it's got a lot of stretch to it. I'm gonna wash it, I'm gonna block it, but I used a $1 skein I found at the thrift store that had never been used. It was originally $12 for the skein, so this is a $1 top. Learned a lot, I'm real excited. So, hey guys. Ta-da, ta-da. All right, so what we did at the bottom, I ended up doing a double, a half double, and 2 single crochets until I used up the yarn. And super excited about it. Gonna give it a nice blocking with some wool wash. It's got lavender and cedar. Get out any old, who knows how long that had been there at the thrift store. But it's definitely, I'm super excited. I probably will make this again, maybe in a cotton, but yay, thanks for joining. Wanted to give you some close-ups in natural light and show you the finished product. So I have not yet washed it at this time, and you can see the really nice airy side patterns, and it's perfect for Florida weather. Even though this is a wool, it's incredibly comfortable and it's not scratchy. It is long enough for my torso, so I'm glad that I used every amount of wool that I had left. And I just think that the stitch pattern is quite lovely. And it makes me feel really good to use this wool that was just sitting there doing nothing. Welcome to my guest bathroom. We have our item. I'm going to show you real quickly how I wash and block this sweater. It is wool, and we're going to use the the Wool Cashmere wash from Laundress, not sponsored, my favorite wash and preserve. We're gonna give this a good soak because this was thrift store wool that was brand new in a skein, but who knows where it's been and how long. So we're gonna soak it, let all the essential oil goodness go into the wool fibers, calm them down, rinse it out, block it on a towel, and then enjoy the fruits of our labor. So let's do it. Cool to cold water, cold to cool water. All right. Now this says hand wash 2 cupfuls significantly. No, you don't need that much. A squeeze, a dab will do you, basically. A dab, like a quarter. Okay, so wool is a protein fiber, and it naturally has lanolin, the sheep from which wool typically is taken. Most wools secretes oils and fluids and whatnot, and there's a natural water repellent aspect and good thermal properties in wool. So when you are washing it, what you don't want to do is use super hot water. You don't want to rub wool together. The fibers will mat down and then you have felted wool. We don't want to felt it. We want to squeeze all the good essential oils in it. So this wash has lavender and cedar in it, sandalwood, orange, and rose, and it's good to stave off moths as well. So what we're going to do is get our sweater. We have our cold to cool water, and we're just gonna submerge it. Yum. See that sort of dinginess? So we're gonna let this guy just, I'm gonna go in there and squeeze it. Don't rub it together, just squeeze. Let it breathe for a while. And don't rub it, squeeze this soap into it, because we want all those fibers to calm down a little bit and be receptive to the oils in the wash and the shampoo. And I can already feel it like almost like a drink of water, getting those essential oils. Now I'm gonna let this sit for a while because again, I don't know how old this wool is, but I can already see that the watercolor has got some dust. Okay, so to dry this, we've let it soak. I've got a little towel, hand towel, and I really actually need a different one. One moment. You want a nice dry towel. You could get a bigger one. I think the sweater will fit on this one enough. We're gonna roll it in this, take out the extra moisture, and then lay it on this towel and stretch it out, block it. You just wanna rinse it with cool water and squeeze. Don't wring or squeeze, don't wring, and don't rub. That's hot. Florida. It's gonna smell like a wet dog because it's hair that used to be on a sheep. It's gonna smell like it. It goes away. Squeeze it all out as much as possible. Then, oh yeah, so much bigger. Woo. Okay. And then we roll this and we squeeze. You can step on this if it's a larger sweater, but this works for this tank top. And you can see how this is now absorbed the water, especially right here. So blocking essentially just means that you are shaping the garment so that it will keep its shape because the fibers have memory, and especially wool ones will spring. Sometimes, I mean, cotton, linen, wool, any kind of natural fiber. So we want this to be even, especially since it's the first time I have washed it. And it's already, I can tell, a size larger. It's softer because of the wool wash, and it now is hitting low hip instead of high hip. So here's what we're gonna do. Let me show you. So this is my carpet. People block in different ways, but it's my carpet, and I've got a towel that's dry and clean. And I'm going to lay out the sweater as I want it. Oh, it's so much better, so much softer. You can take pins. This is a rug and then a towel. You can take pins and just lightly pin it where you want it to stay. And we're done. We'll just let her dry.